Oh, yes. So I'm liking this music here. I've had it for quite a few years, but I'm gonna add that to my image, and then when I just go live, that'll be the music you hear. I might rearrange the tune a little bit. The intro is a little long. Just say, uh, I might do that 4 times and then do something else, right? I did fix my black hole issue, so I use a combination of software called Black Hole, 2-channel and 16-channel, and also AudioCast to actually get audio from my interface to the live stream. And I'll show you what I'm working with here real fast, if this makes any sense at all. So this thing right here, this is seeing the Orion Studio, which it looks like it's a little loud. Let me turn all this down, essentially. Turn it down like that. Check 1 2, check. Hey. All right, I don't know what's going on. Whatever it is. Hope everything is sounding okay on your end. But anyway, AudioCast. This is getting the Orion Studio 2 sound. I could probably turn it down on this end too. Maybe. Yeah, this turns it down on that end. Let me turn my master back up over here so I can hear it better. I still want to peak on the in the audio there. All right, so regardless, I am sending signal from my interface to AudioCast by setting this as my input, my Orion Studio 3 input. And you can see what happened right there. Let me reset the other side. Okay, just in case any of this is interesting at all to anybody else. The Black Hole software is an extra thing that you have to download, and it just kind of runs in the background. But what that does on a Mac is it allows you to essentially have different outputs going different places and whatnot. And then back on the Orion Studio screen, which you can see here, in the routing tab, I actually have it set up now since the weekend. I had a good recording session, but it made me realize I needed to change some cables around and get a different setup going. What I've done is set monitor A to feed my actual studio monitors, and then monitor B is feeding my headphone amp down here. And then I'm going to be using headphone A and headphone B to feed a click track into the aux inputs of 4 of the headphone channels. So that way the artist can have whatever amount of band mix and click track that they want in their ears. And that was something that we were working on throughout the session, getting everyone comfortable and happy with their sound and all this stuff. So anyway, as you can see here on the end, I have M2 left and M2 right, and that is coming on channels 31 and 32. And that's why on the AudioCast, I have this set to 31 and 32, because I'm essentially sending whatever mix I have on here. If I go back to my mixer, on mixer 2. So I have my vocal right here. Hello, check. I have my DAW playback, my computer playback, some other channels that I probably end up renaming or something. Like for instance, I could probably go to routing and say, well, this is my effects return. But anyway, it is what it is. So with all that said, I am here. I had to run a quick errand. I like it right at 3:30, normally when I would be coming home to do this live stream. And then traffic was so bad, I was kind of stuck in traffic for a little bit. So I'm about 25 minutes late to the stream today, but hey, I'm here now. So I was watching the HW ToneJunkie video that he released today, and it is really nothing new, but basically his technique or his little tone tip for the day is cutting mids on a clean tone or even a edited breakup kind of tone will help to kind of clean up. Well, it'll make it more. It'll make it less gainy, I guess. And then on a really heavy overdriven tone, cutting mids will actually clean up the sound, and then give it more clarity, I guess. So something like that. You can go watch his video. I do have a ToneMaster Pro here in front of me. Oh, I think I know exactly what it is. I'm having an issue, but I think I know what it is now. I need to go to Mixer. No, I need to go to Output. There we go. Okay. Sometimes I have so many different setups, I don't remember what I'm doing. All right, let me show you this preset here. It's a good little preset. On the ToneMaster Pro, nothing against any other mauler. The ToneMaster Pro is really an actual great size. It does have 10 switches, 8 for the presets and scenes and stomps. And then you got a FS mode, a foot switch mode, a looper, and a tap tempo, and a tuner, and all the things. So let me go to this other screen here so you can see what I'm doing. Yes, sir. Let's go up here. And let's make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Not too bad. And maybe, just maybe, I'll include myself in here so you can see what I'm doing as well. Okay? All right, so what we're dealing with is, maybe make this a little bit bigger now. I'll get all this figured out one day. Okay. I'll look nice and neat on the screen. So what you can see here is, if you notice, on the end of my chain, I am splitting out the signal. So the top half is going to, this output is going out output 1, which is feeding the XLR outs, which also there is a 1/4 inch output being mirrored by the XLRs. So you can have either or, whatever you want to do. I'm also sending this to headphones, but my headphones are plugged into the headphone distribution device down here and not directly into the ToneMaster Pro. And then the lower path is being sent to basically output 2, which can feed into the effects return of an amp, which I did get the UK version of the Aviator Cub last week, and I did a live stream on that. And that video has been proven to be, that amp has proven to be very good here in the studio. I used it over the weekend in the session, and it just went really well. So regardless, I have actually 2 different EQs here at the end, and I have the Mesa Boogie EQ5 graphic EQ. So HW suggested to cut the 750 range, anywhere between like 750 to 1K, something like that. And we can look at other. I can't talk today. I'm really tired or something. Let's go down to EQ. Whoa, what's happening? Wow, my mouse is freaking out. Okay, here we are. Let's look at different EQs here. We got the 7-band graphic. We'll just do like a normal one. So on this one, we have an 800 and a 1.6K. So it's not quite 750, but he did say you could do 750 or 1K or something like that. Anything anything in that range. Let's do another one here. Let's see what other options. You can literally apply all this to any other modeler that you have. So don't feel like if you don't have a ToneMaster Pro, then you're missing out, because you're not. You're really not. All right, on the EQ3, we actually have a bass, a treble, a mid frequency, and a mid Q. So very similar to what he was saying, you could do like a 0.7 Q. You can cut the mids. There's your mids up or down, and then go find the frequency that you want. So it can literally be like anything. You don't have to just choose 750 or 1K or whatever. You can do like 900 or 800 or 600 or whatever. So for example, let's see what happens if we if I hold this for looper, hold for position. Okay, so my looper is going to be pre, which means I'm going to loop something here and just see what happens. So, uh-oh. Okay, I got it. I'm going to hit stop. Okay, maybe I'm not going to do it. Anyway. Wow. Don't know what's happening here. Maybe I'll undo it. Okay, sorry about that. I'm literally all over the place today. All right, so what I was attempting to do was play, and let's actually go to a clean tone first. So what I want is to be able to turn this on and then just sweep the frequencies. So I'm going to boost this pretty high. Okay, you can hear the frequency change. All right, so I'm going to start at around 750 on here. Excuse me for the burping. I don't know why I'm burping. Let's go about 730, whatever it is. Okay, I'm actually boosting that frequency then, so now let me cut it about 2 dB or so. Okay, so we are cutting a little bit of that mid-range there. Let's go to the UK Brilliant channel. And here we go. Maybe not that much of a cut. So it really takes that barky element of, especially this amp right here, because Voxes have that kind of barky, kind of mid-range sound to it. So you can easily alter the character of the amp just by cutting the mids in that way. Okay, so there's that. We do already have this other one on, so let's actually turn it off. Let's actually leave this up so I can bypass it. So same kind of deal here. We have the 750 down. All right, so that's just really a good example of what happens when you cut mids. Let's go to the 50. Excuse me, I got so many issues today. All right, so here's the 5153 blue channel, and we're going to start with the no mids cut. So this is with the pedal bypassed. Now, one thing I am doing is I'm boosting the gain a little bit because I felt like the other day when I cut the mids that much, it reduced the volume. So I brought the volume back up, or the gain back up. But let me make it more in the middle now. Yeah, so it works just fine, cutting that kind of stuff. So this is the practical use of EQ, is especially in the studio. If I want to make room for a vocal or for a guitar solo or something, I can't have, two rhythm guitars that are like doubled on each side and like this big bass sound and these big drums and whatever else, and keys, and which takes up a lot of mid-range as well. I can't have all that mid-range and then stick in another guitar part thinking that it's going to just magically, cut through the mix. So what I would do is record the rhythm parts with a slightly scooped mid-range, knowing that my guitar solo is not going to have any scooped mid-range. It's going to have the full mid-range intact. And therefore, the solo has a nice little place to sit in that frequency range to actually stand out in the mix and not get buried by other things. That's why the best audio engineers, they filter their frequencies on pretty much everything. Like on bass guitar, I do have a high cut up around 80 hertz because the low string on a bass guitar is 80 hertz. So there's really no need to have anything lower than 80 hertz on the bass guitar. And plus, that frees up the extra little rumble down there for the kick drum to live in. And now you're magically leaving room for the kick drum just by cutting some lows on the bass. Even though you're like, Nathan, why would you want to cut lows on the bass? Like, I thought bass was like all about the low end, It's like, well, there is. But you could totally do the opposite effect. You could leave the bass guitar intact and then high cut up to 80 hertz or 100 or something on the kick drum. And now you're allowing the bass guitar to take over, dominance in that low end space, and the kick drum is just sitting right above that frequency range where the bass guitar is sitting. So it's just the same kind of concept here for rhythm guitars, lead guitar, any kind of guitars. That's why vintage 30s have a naturally scooped mid-range compared to a greenback speaker. And if you can even go as far as just doing that. You can record rhythm guitars on a vintage 30 and then play a lead guitar part on a greenback speaker or with a greenback speaker, and just naturally, without really having to do anything special with the EQ within your DAW or within your Mahler or whatever else, you're already sculpting the sound based on the speaker that you're choosing and so forth. So let's go ahead and actually dive in here and do the same thing. So we're going to bypass that speaker, and we're going to add another. Let's do a cabinet here. Oh. So we have like a creamback style. We have a British Jubilee. We have the Alnico Blue, which is differently. Let's just do the Alnico Blue versus a greenback. This is probably going to be a good example here. Especially since we have. What is happening? Hello. Especially since we already have a Vox AC30 in here. So let me choose that amp. Let's go here. Let's replace this one with a greenback. Okay, so we have the blue and we have the greenback. So the greenback is first. We'll bypass this one and we'll say something like this. So okay, greenback with the SM50 SM7B, about an inch from the cap edge. Okay, so we got that. We'll bypass it and then go over to our Alnico blue speaker. We'll put the microphone on the same position. And then here we go. All right, so already that sounds brighter to my ears. We'll go back here. Okay, so this is a very telling experiment. So greenback in a UK 30 cabinet is less highs, which naturally brings out the mid-range element. But the Alnico blue has more highs, which means it's probably scooping the mids more, which in turn you perceive that scoop mids as just being more lows and more highs. So now I would argue that that's a little too bright for my taste. So I would go to my high cut filter and then just bring that down all the way to like, 6K or something like that, right? So here we go. Back to the greenback. All right, cool. I'll even go as far as doing the same high cut here, about 6K or so. And one more time, going back to the Alnico blue. Yeah, it's just so much brighter. I could probably even stand to cut it down to like 4.5. Bypass, go back to here. So without touching an EQ at all, I've already drastically changed the sound just by changing your speaker, which is why literally everybody from like the who's who of like tone gods, right? Leon Todd and Joe Bonamassa, and just literally anybody who like knows tone. I don't know why I'm doing this, but like they know the tone, right? They say that the speaker is literally 50% of your sound. So it doesn't matter what tubes you have, doesn't matter what, if it's like a cathode bias or pentode bias, or I don't even know all the different elements of what I'm talking about. 12AX7 versus 12AU7, EL34s versus EL81s. I mean, just 6L6s versus 6T. I mean, whatever all the different tube types are. It literally, the biggest change to your sound is going to be the speaker. So when you change your speaker cab, or just a speaker in general inside your cab, you are going to change your sound a lot more versus just changing the amp. Okay. Now let's go to my JC Clean. Okay. It's a very, just very squeaky clean sound right here. Okay. Now going back to my other speaker, the blue. That is just so stinking bright. I'm going to cut it down even more to like 3.5. Wow. Wow, I can really cut this pretty far. And that literally shows you that there's no rules of like, Nathan, how far can you cut your sound? Can you filter the sound? Can you go from like 80 hertz all the way up to like 200? It's like, well, I don't know. Just trust your ears and see what happens. Here's back to the greenback. Okay, so this greenback is cut at 6.1. Going back to the blue, which is cut at 2.5. Okay, so that is pretty similar right there. Let me actually do this. Let me go to foot switch assign. On off. We'll assign both of these to a single foot switch. Like so. And that means now we can toggle back and forth a lot quicker, which is great. All right, so here's a greenback and the blue. I should have done that earlier. I'm sorry. Let's bring the high cut back up to around that 6K mark. All right, now going from blue. Yeah, so the greenback is just so much smoother on the top end, not as bright. But if you're really going for that jangly kind of something, then maybe the blue speaker is what you want. I don't know. Joel Chappelle, what's up, man? Definitely agree that you get more bang for the buck changing speaker. IR EQ can cause overcompensating and produce the thin tone, in my opinion. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can see that. Especially if you're not good with EQ. Like, if you're not saying you have to be an audio engineer, but just knowing some basics of like high cut, high pass filtering, low cut or low pass filter, high cut, low cut. Even the term high pass and low pass is confusing, because why don't you just call it high cuts and low cuts? That's probably a lot easier, right? That's just not what they did back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s and whatever else. Yeah, so if I was recording, maybe do the rhythm parts on the greenback, maybe, and then do the lead part. I'm messing this up. Do the lead part on the brighter tone, because it naturally sits higher in the frequency range, and therefore might cut through the mix a lot better. I don't know, right? Here's the UK Brilliant. Now, here's a very short, shameless plug for my Dock IR pack. Not saying that you can't use the stock cabinets and IRs that come in your device. But what Greg Barth has done over at Sonic DNA is that he's essentially taken my 2x12 cab, which has a greenback and a vintage 30, and he's paired them with different combinations of SM57, a MD421, and also a Royer 121. And as you go through each group, like group A is like, the greenback with the 57 and a 121. Then as you step through the group, you're actually adjusting the fader position, virtual fader position of those microphones. So like, okay, you got the brightness of the 57, then you got the warm sound of the 121, but then as you bring down that 121 fader, you're keeping the bright sound, but you have less bass and less smoothness of the 121. Then as you bring it all the way down, you're only getting the 57. Then it goes back to normal. both at 0%. And then you're bringing down the 57 and keeping the 121 higher, which makes it naturally darker. But now you're sneaking in just a little bit of that brightness from the 57. And then as you bring the 57 all the way down, you only have the 121. And that's just for the greenback channel. That's just for the greenback speaker. Then you go to the Vintage 30 in Group B, or whichever group it is, whatever order it is, I don't remember. And then it just does the same thing. So now you're on a Vintage 30 speaker, which naturally has less mids, and you're doing that fader balancing of like the bright mic versus the dark mic, and you're doing all that stuff. And then Group C, I think, goes to the MD421, which is the Sennheiser. And you also get on and off axis as you go somewhere in that group. Anyway, it's a really good, worthwhile pack to buy if you're wanting a really good set of IRs that literally give you all the different nuances of the greenback and the Vintage 30 and the different microphones. And there's plenty of people that have bought the pack over the years. I think we came out with it in basically 2020 during the pandemic. And it's just been a great product for me and everybody else who has it. And it's very easy to understand. You can just pick the group that you like the best. Like I want a greenback with a 57 and a 121. And now you can just go in and kind of find which one of that group works best for your ears and what you're going for, whether you want a bright sound or a darker sound or whatever else. So I know Joel Chappelle has bought that before and uses it. So your IR pack allows very precise tone shaping. Love them. See, there you go. Joel knows what's up. He knows what's up. And it's amazing what happens when you keep the same speaker, but then change the microphone. That's like another level of tone shaping just from the speaker and the mic position itself, and the type of mic it is and where you put it on the speaker. So all very cool stuff. I'm just going back to the greenback. I like the greenback better. All right, now to the 5150. So balls to the wall. Here's the bright speaker. Shoo-wee dog. That's very bright. All right, let me do one more thing. So I'm kind of taking the HW ToneJunkie deal, and I'm going totally different direction. So now I'm just changing the speakers instead of whatever. Let's go a totally different. Let's go with a 4x10 Bassman greenback. Okay. Now we're going to compare this with a 1x12 or probably a 2x12 greenback. So here's the 2x12 greenback. And then the 4x10 greenback. Ooh, that's so weird. That's so weird. Yeah, that one has a lot of mid-range, but not a lot of high-end either. Yeah, so it might be... Now, anything in isolation can sound a little funky, but once you get things into a mix, that's when you really realize how well these different tones can come together to make one big sounding song. So let's just say, for example, I did rhythm parts with like the UK Brilliant with the greenback. Right, then I kick it over to the blue channel on the 5150 and go to the 4x10 greenback. This is what we get. Yeah, so it's just different tones that work really well together in the mix. And yeah, it's just the way it is, man. It's the way it is. So let me know what you guys think out there and what you guys do. As far as tone shaping, do you use EQs? Do you just rely on the knobs on the amp? I mean, you know, all kinds of different ways of doing it. Or we can talk about something else. I do not care. I was a little late today, so I'll probably go to about 5:20, maybe 5:30. So another 25 minutes or so. And I would love to chat up about whatever questions y'all have. Joel also says, I can't remember which bass player for Metallica it was, but he always tracked dual pass, one through a bass cab and one through a guitar cab to get that punch and cut in the mix. Yeah, I can see that. And honestly, the Bassman amps were meant for bass. They weren't meant for guitar. They were meant for bass. And then eventually, like, guitar players just loved them and like, well, I'm going to use it for guitar, actually, not for bass. But let me check something real fast. I got some notifications here. Yeah, got it. If y'all are on Fiverr.com, I am on that platform, and I do a lot of mixing and mastering. When does this thing due? It's not due for another day and 14 hours. That's good. So right now I have a mastering gig to master 6 songs for somebody. Then the one I just got today was this person wants me to tune their vocals and then do a mix of their, you know, they gave me the backing track stem so I can mix the vocals in with the backing tracks and all that. So I do have a full-fledged studio here. This is why it's called Doctor McFarland Studios. I don't just collect guitars and turn knobs on maulers. I did have a band here over the weekend. We had a keyboard player right here. Let me get out of this view. You can kind of see me a little bit better this way. I had a guitar player sitting back there. My drums are over here. I had a singer in the booth. I had the bass player standing right over here to my right. Then the keyboard player to my left. That way everyone can see everybody, and we can all have a good line of sight. And then, like I said, I was experimenting with different headphone mixes so they can get the certain amount of click track in their ear. And I got all that figured out now. So the next session will be a little bit smoother. The drummer always wants more click than everybody else. But if you only have like 1 or 2 mixes to work with, you know, the drummer gets lots of click, and then the keyboard player's like, it's driving me crazy, man. I can't stand all that click. So anyway, I've made it to where now I can adjust all that for the client or the artist or whatever you want to call them, the person paying you money, and get all that figured out. So anyway. Let's see, what else have we got in here? What else do we got? We got a little reverb. Bypassed. There we go. Get some reverb on there. I did recently sell my Kemper stage to a longtime friend. He actually borrowed the Kemper just to see if he wanted one. He was like, yeah, I want one now for sure. I've been looking at some on Reverb. I was like, well, I'll give you a really good deal. And I needed money and he needed a Kemper. So we made the deal and it worked out for both of us. I do kind of want the Kemper, like the single thing Kemper, but I just can't. I don't like spending extra money that I don't have to just to get all the features that I want. So buying the small Kemper for like $700 and then adding on another $300 just to make it, add on the stage 1 and 2 and 3, whatever they call it. So you basically get the same functionality as the big Kemper, the Kemper stage, but then you get it in this small format. And I think if I were going to actually buy a Kemper, I would get a rack version and then just keep it here in the studio because I literally don't need it for playing anywhere else but the studio. And that way I can still take advantage of all the profiles that I've made and also purchased because I'm kind of leaving all that on the table when I sell off my unit. So yeah, if I can find a non-powered Kemper rack for, $700-800, something like that. Let's actually go shopping for a little bit. I'm interested. I am interested in this. Let's see. Joel is also saying, I think when a model capture clone is good, with the right RR, there isn't much EQ needed, but that's me. I remember starting out in church sound in the 80s. I would go to churches complaining of poor sound, and would almost always find the console EQ'd to death. So I'm convinced for minimal EQ. Yeah, that is very true. If you're also starting out in recording, it can be very tempting to just keep adding plugin after plugin, thinking that you're doing something. And then you realize that you've added 5 EQ plugins and like 4 compressors, and you wonder why your vocal sounds like crap or your mix just isn't coming together. And once you've bypassed all the plugins, you're like, wow, this actually sounds pretty good. So yeah, like, and really at a church or really any live venue, if you are, it's as simple as just taking out the EQ, just pushing the button, taking out the EQ, hearing what it sounds like bypassed, and then putting the EQ back in and be like, oh, that sounds really bad. So maybe you start turning the knobs back to like, normal center, straight up, 12 o'clock, whatever I'm trying to say. And then you can kind of start re-EQing things if you need to. But most of the time, if you EQ for live stuff, it's really more for like feedback control and not let things get out of hand. But nowadays with like the new digital mixers, it's so easy to just cut some lows and mids some lows and some highs and let the mids just kind of be what they are. Unless you have a guitar that sounds like an acoustic guitar that sounds just really bad and you're trying to EQ out all the badness of the EQ of the guitar. Anyway, let's go shopping for a second because we can. Let's just go to reverb and let's go here. And let's go here. Wow. Why aren't you doing it, man? I want this to be Firefox. All right, there we go. So we're going to look at a Kemper rack. How about that? Not too bad. This is like $1,000 for the rack and the controller. Like $850. That's probably a good $30 shipping. If I actually add this to the cart, no, I don't want to plan. After tax, it would be $966. So I'm basically selling one stage just to keep $400 and then switching it out with a rack, which I don't need at all at this point, guys. I don't need this thing at all. I'm very happy with the Headrush MX5 and the Prime, Flex Prime. Loving the ToneMaster Pro right here in front of me. It's literally just all that I need. I don't need much of anything else at all. Let's go back here. Just see what other options we have. This is a power rack for $1,500, $950. At one point, I thought it would be really cool to have like a Kemper rack, a Axe-Fx 3 rack, and then maybe like a Line 6 Helix rack or something. Like have 3 rackable units, just like bam, 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 all right there next to me, or maybe over to my right. But then I'd have to have a desk that accommodates, more rack gear and, especially based on the band I just got done recording over the weekend. It's like the guy literally just used my UK Aviator Cub as his amp. He brought in his little pedal board. I had a mic on the cab, but also went direct out of the line out option into the interface. I also have another Aviator Cub over here, the US version. Then I have the ToneMaster Pro here. I have a Helix. I have a Headrush. I need to really sell my Helix. I do like the Helix overall. It's just a great sounding unit. But with the size of the ToneMaster Pro right here, I literally don't use anything else. Even the Headrush stuff just kind of sits there unless I'm making a video with it or something. But the ToneMaster Pro is just so convenient right here in front of me. And it's small. It's got plenty of switches, plenty of gadgets and options that I need to make sounds. And even with this preset right here, I can just go from clean to my crunch, then to my my heavy. So it just does everything I need. But then you see the pictures on Facebook or like the home studio groups where they have like all the rack gear and all the cool stuff. It's like, yeah, you could retire early and not just buy all that stuff. But you're like taking up all your precious cash flow by putting it into gear that literally just sits in a rack and you may not even use it half the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want to have a legit studio, you have to spend, tens of thousands of dollars just to look cool online. It's like, yeah, I spent all this money to look cool online and I don't really use it. So, that's not a good, thought process to have when it comes to gear. You want to be able to buy something and actually use it on a consistent basis. Like for instance, here is I guess he's just selling one of them, selling both of my Kempers, $1,200 each. So he basically had one as his main unit, then the other one as a backup, probably, because that's how most live people do it, just in case something goes down during a show or whatever. Let me check the comments here. Yep, I picked up the Sonic Cake Pocket Master for $65 to play with NAM files. Sounds pretty good. I'm sure it does. I am sure it does. Use it in front of the Champ I built for delay and reverb. Pretty great sound. Yeah, sure, why not? There's literally no rules. Oh, by the way, I'm going to keep saying this every week until someone does it. So this Pantheon Dual Overdrive Deluxe, this is for sale on my Reverb channel. Like, for instance, if I go to my Reverb here and go to my shop, what do I have on here? I have some Kiesels for sale. Yes, please buy some Kiesels from me. So the Pantheon I'm selling currently for $200. I was selling it for $250. If somebody wants to make me an offer for whatever, I mean, just offer me something and I'll probably accept it. And then you can buy it and I'll ship it straight to you. Or if you're local to Nashville, then you can just come pick it up. But yeah, if you want a nice overdrive pedal, then there is that. You can check that out. Okay? All right, folks. Let's see what else we got here. We got Richard Chaplin in the house. We got Dwight Bailey in the house. What's up, guys? Let me know your questions. I'm gonna be going for probably another 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes or so. This is the cleanest my studio has been in a while. I have like a little pile right here I need to clean up. But I don't have like a lot of cables running around and eating up floor space. I do need to order well, I may not need to order anything. I probably already have the cable I need. I just need to go through all my stuff and find it. But I need one more cable to go out of this headphone 2 thing. The second headphone output, and then go to channels 3 and 4 of my headphone splitter, so that way I can get up to 4 different mixes of click track for my musicians, and then channels 5 and 6 we can just share a mix on that one and do whatever we need. This is slowly becoming not my number one, but I do pick it up quite often. This is the Kiesel CT6 in Autumn Burst, and it just literally slays. It looks great, sounds great. Somebody was talking about a Les Paul the other day, and they were like, it's just a fatter sounding Telecaster. Which I can see that. I can see that. Let me change guitars real fast. All right. Let's do this. So I'm really liking these Rock Lock universal strap locks. So the Rock Lock stuff, you can see, you can get it in my face. There we go. Rock Lock multi-pack. So you just put it on your strap of choice, and then you can just quickly switch it out to another guitar just by clicking it on. And there we are. Let's plug in the cable again. We're going to need a cable here, folks. There we go. So now, speaking of fatter tellies, we now just have a run-of-the-mill telly from Kiesel. So that's the bridge. Here's the middle. Then here's the neck. So on this neck right here, I make sure to get a extra thick profile on the back, or the thicker profile. So you got like thinner, then you got the normal, then you got thicker. So I got the thicker profile. I do have the 10-inch radius on the fingerboard, and I have jumbo frets on here. So it's nice and round and smooth. You know, just feels really good under the hands and the fingers. So this amp on here, this is the JC120 clean amp. Then I have the UK30 Brilliant. Then the blue. Going back to clean, I can turn on some tremolo. Kick in some delay. Here's the Enchanter, which is the Paul Cochran Timmy. And then here's the Greenbox 8, which is your tube screamer. So yeah, between 3 different amps and 2 different overdrives, that should be plenty of clean, dirt, filth, whatever I want, right? Should be. You would think. See if we got any more questions here. When is the Headrush show? Yeah, it is getting toward the end of the month. Let's go ahead and do that. What are we doing on Friday? Maybe Thursday or Friday night. Let's do it. Let's do it toward the end of the week here. Sometimes I replace my Tuesday live stream with the Headrush show. the HGS rigs building fiasco that ensues every month. But yeah, we'll make it on Thursday or Friday. 'Cause that essentially allows me to, wow, what's going on there? Yeah. Because it's Tuesday now. So 25, 26, 27. 27 is on Thursday. 28th. Is Friday the last day of the month? I can never tell. I don't even know. Oh man. Yeah, the 28th, the last day of February is on Friday. Let's go ahead and do it on let's do it on Friday. That'll be good. That means I have 2 guitars and 2 basses. I need to do some review videos for Zounds.com, which I am an affiliate, official affiliate partner. So if you want to buy anything online, please click to my Zounds link under any of my videos. And that will help me out just by giving a small commission for whatever you buy. If you were going to buy something anyway, I don't want you to just go out and buy something just to do whatever. But if you were gonna buy a new guitar or a Headrush or a Mahler or of any other kind, then click on my link, go find the product, and then by purchasing that product, you give me a little bit of kickback from that sale. So. But there's also tons of products on my website. Anything from Helix presets, ToneMaster Pro presets, Kemper profiles, Fractal presets, Headrush tone sculpting courses and rigs that you can download and all the different things. You can also learn about music theory. If you want to learn about music theory, you can also learn more about recording, which I actually need to work more on that product a little bit. Kind of do some updating on that one. But yeah, what time is it now? It's almost 5:30. This would be a good time to stop. So I appreciate everyone watching. Sorry for the late start today, but I had to go run an errand and then I got stuck in traffic and just, what you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? But yeah, I love this guitar. This is the Kiesel Retro Solo with a matching headstock. And this is essentially Candy Apple Red. It's technically red metallic, but they call it, it's the quintessential Candy Apple Red kind of look. and it's nice. So yeah, Richard, what kind of rigs do you want me to make this month? Then I'll look into doing that. Okay. So just comment on this video after the stream is over, or send me a message on my website, or drmcfarlandstudios.com, and be like, hey, I really want you to make some rigs based on this or whatever, and then I'll see what I can do. All right, guys, it's been fun. I'm going to go see if my family's here, and if they're not, I'm going to rest for a bit and then make some videos tonight that can be scheduled for, either this week or starting in March. Probably in March. I got other things to do between this live stream and the live stream on Friday. I might have a video out on Thursday just to show something. I got a long list of video topics I've been meaning to get to. I just hadn't done them yet. So, but I appreciate everyone watching, and y'all have a great rest of your day. And I'm Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.